Moonlight splintered through the shattered windows as Selene gasped, clutching her hands to her chest, while Kael struggled to rise from the stone floor. Malric lurked in the shadows, smirking at their fear, and Alaric stepped forward, his voice calm but urgent, warning Selene that the curse was growing stronger. Rowan darted nervously between the pillars, eyes wide, muttering about the danger approaching. Selene reached for Kael's trembling hand, trying to steady herself, and Kael grasped her fingers in silent support. The shadows seemed to breathe around them, twisting closer with every heartbeat. Selene's violet eyes shone with determination as Alaric urged them forward, while Malric's sinister laugh echoed through the ruined chapel, and Rowan whispered that they had little time. Each second stretched, tension coiling in the air as Selene, Kael, Alaric, Rowan, and Malric prepared for the inevitable confrontation. Selene clutched Kael's hand tightly, feeling the curse trying to pull him away, while Alaric warned them to focus. Rowan peeked nervously from behind a pillar, whispering that Malric was approaching fast. Kael told Selene they could not run forever, and Selene, swallowing fear, declared that they would fight together. Shadows twisted on the walls as Malric's laugh echoed faintly, and every heartbeat reminded Selene, Kael, Alaric, and Rowan that the night's danger was far from over. Alaric raised his staff, glyphs glowing along the chapel floor. Selene drew a deep breath, feeling Kael's hand in hers, and focused her energy as instructed. Rowan whispered warnings, glancing at Malric, whose mocking voice echoed from the shadows. "Do not falter," Alaric urged, and Selene's hands glowed faintly with magic. Kael supported her silently, and Selene felt the shadows begin to recoil, reacting to her will. Every second stretched as Selene, Kael, Alaric, Rowan, and Malric faced the dangerous dance of magic and darkness. The shadows deepened as Malric stepped forward, his crimson eyes glinting, while Selene tightened her grip on Kael's hand. Alaric's staff glimmered, casting protective light across the ruined chapel, and Rowan whispered urgently about the narrowing exits. Kael glanced at Selene, a silent promise in his eyes, and Selene felt courage rising despite fear. Malric raised a hand, summoning swirling dark energy, and Selene, Kael, Alaric, and Rowan braced themselves. Each flicker of candlelight made the darkness more menacing, and every heartbeat echoed the growing tension among Selene, Kael, Alaric, Rowan, and Malric. The night held its breath, waiting for the first clash of power. Selene felt a surge of power as Kael and Alaric joined forces, their energy intertwining with hers. Rowan shifted nervously but stayed close, eyes darting toward Malric's advancing figure. Malric laughed, voice echoing off the broken walls, taunting them as he raised a wave of shadows. Selene shouted a command, directing magic toward the encroaching darkness, and Kael mirrored her movements. Alaric chanted words of protection, reinforcing their spell, while Rowan tried to steady himself. The room vibrated with energy as Selene, Kael, Alaric, Rowan, and Malric moved in a tense, dangerous dance of magic, fear, and determination. Selene, Kael, Alaric, and Rowan emerged from the shattered chapel into the misty forest, the air thick with tension. Malric's presence lingered like a shadow over every tree. Selene's eyes scanned the surroundings, while Kael held his sword ready. Alaric muttered a protective chant, illuminating the mist with soft light. Rowan darted between trunks, alert and cautious, sensing danger in every rustle. Malric's laughter echoed faintly through the fog, taunting Selene, Kael, Alaric, and Rowan. Each step forward heightened their resolve as Selene whispered strategy. Kael tightened his grip, Alaric's light pulsed, and Rowan followed quietly. The forest grew darker as Malric's influence spread. Selene felt a chill crawl along her spine, while Kael's eyes scanned for traps. Alaric raised his staff, drawing protective glyphs in the air, and Rowan crouched low, whispering warnings. Malric's dark energy twisted the trees, making them seem alive. Selene, Kael, Alaric, and Rowan moved as one, each sensing danger. Selene's voice directed Kael and Rowan to flank Malric's potential attack, and Alaric reinforced their defenses. Every sound, rustle, and whisper of wind heightened tension as they pressed forward through the dark forest, determined yet wary. Selene sensed Malric nearby as the forest path narrowed. Kael positioned himself between her and the unseen threat. Alaric's chant grew louder, weaving protective words, and Rowan's eyes darted nervously to every shadow. Malric's dark laughter echoed from nowhere and everywhere at once. Selene, Kael, Alaric, and Rowan tightened their formation, ready for confrontation. Each heartbeat matched the forest's rhythm as Selene directed Kael and Rowan. Alaric held his staff high, and shadows writhed unnaturally. The tension mounted, and every breath felt like a countdown to Malric's sudden attack. Suddenly Malric emerged from the fog, his cloak flowing, eyes burning crimson. Selene, Kael, Alaric, and Rowan reacted instantly, forming a defensive circle. Kael swung his sword, Selene unleashed a burst of light magic, Alaric chanted and cast shields, and Rowan flanked to intercept any shadowy strikes. Malric's grin widened as dark tendrils shot from the ground. Selene felt the power surge through her hands. Kael steadied his stance. Alaric reinforced their protective wards, and Rowan leapt to deflect incoming energy. The forest quaked under Malric's wrath, forcing Selene, Kael, Alaric, and Rowan to push every skill and spell to the limit. The battle raged as Selene, Kael, Alaric, and Rowan fought Malric in the heart of the dark forest. Selene's magic clashed with Malric's shadows. Kael blocked strikes and pushed forward. Alaric reinforced barriers, and Rowan darted to assist where needed. Malric roared in frustration, his power growing, yet Selene's determination intensified. Every movement, every spell, every strike tested their limits. Selene, Kael, Alaric, and Rowan worked seamlessly together, anticipating each other's moves. Malric's fury surged, but their unity and courage formed an unbreakable front. The forest trembled, illuminated by bursts of magic and shadow as the clash reached its peak. Selene, Kael, Alaric, and Rowan stepped into the ruins of the ancient temple, their breaths echoing off cracked stone walls. Malric's dark aura lingered, twisting the shadows around broken pillars. Selene whispered to Kael about their plan, while Alaric traced runes along the ground, and Rowan scouted ahead. The air was thick, every sound amplified, and every flicker of light or shadow seemed alive. Malric's presence pressed upon Selene, Kael, Alaric, and Rowan, testing their courage and focus. Each movement they made was deliberate, as if the temple itself judged their intentions. A low hum echoed through the temple as Selene, Kael, Alaric, and Rowan reached the inner sanctum. Malric's figure emerged from the shadows, eyes glowing crimson. Selene stepped forward, casting a protective barrier while Kael braced for attack. Alaric raised his staff to reinforce magic shields, and Rowan circled to flank Malric. The temple trembled with the weight of dark energy as Malric hissed threats. Selene, Kael, Alaric, and Rowan responded with coordinated precision, their combined strength forming a fragile counter to Malric's overwhelming power. Selene, Kael, Alaric, and Rowan exchanged quick nods, silently agreeing on their plan. Kael lunged at Malric, drawing a burst of dark energy toward himself, while Selene unleashed a blinding wave of magic. Alaric's staff projected protective shields around them, as Rowan moved to strike at Malric's shadowy minions. The temple walls shook, and dust rained down as Malric countered with ferocious dark tendrils. Selene's light cut through the shadows, Kael's blade struck true, Alaric's runes pulsed with energy, and Rowan's swift movements disrupted Malric's assault. Their teamwork was precise, each action synchronized to survive the overwhelming chaos. The clash intensified as Malric summoned a vortex of darkness, threatening to engulf Selene, Kael, Alaric, and Rowan. Selene focused all her energy, casting a radiant barrier while Kael shielded her with his sword. Alaric's chants amplified the protective magic, and Rowan moved to distract Malric's shadows. The temple seemed alive, reacting violently to the magic and dark energy. Selene, Kael, Alaric, and Rowan fought as a single entity, their movements fluid and decisive, countering Malric's attacks with precision. Each spell, strike, and movement pulsed with urgency, knowing that one mistake could cost everything. With a final surge, Selene, Kael, Alaric, and Rowan combined their strength against Malric. Selene's radiant light intertwined with Kael's swift strikes, Alaric's powerful runes, and Rowan's precise attacks. Malric screamed as his dark power faltered, shadows dissipating into the temple air. The walls trembled one last time before falling silent. Selene, Kael, Alaric, and Rowan stood together, exhausted but victorious. Light bathed the temple ruins as their unity had overcome the darkness. Each of them glanced at the others, understanding the cost of their battle, yet celebrating the triumph of courage and teamwork. After the battle in the temple, Selene, Kael, Alaric, and Rowan ventured into the hidden forest beyond, the air thick with mist and the scent of pine. Strange whispers followed them as Selene sensed the lingering magic of Malric. Kael kept his sword ready, while Alaric muttered incantations to detect danger. Rowan moved silently ahead, scouting for threats among the twisted trees. Every shadow seemed alive, every rustle a potential trap. Selene, Kael, Alaric, and Rowan advanced cautiously, their determination matched by the forest's eerie, almost sentient, presence. A sudden tremor shook the forest as Selene, Kael, Alaric, and Rowan reached a clearing with a shimmering portal. The portal's light pulsated, revealing a path into unknown realms. Selene stepped closer, feeling its energy pull at her, while Kael steadied her with a firm grip. Alaric whispered warnings of ancient powers beyond comprehension, and Rowan scanned the perimeter for lurking dangers. Every flicker of the portal's glow reflected in their eyes. Selene, Kael, Alaric, and Rowan knew stepping forward was a risk, but it was the only path to stop Malric's returning dark influence. Selene, Kael, Alaric, and Rowan stepped through the portal and found themselves in a realm of floating islands, glowing rivers, and shifting skies. Gravity seemed unpredictable, and time felt distorted. Selene's magic adapted. Kael tested footing cautiously, Alaric analyzed the environment for arcane patterns, and Rowan jumped between rocks scouting the area. Strange creatures watched from afar, their eyes luminous and unblinking. Selene, Kael, Alaric, and Rowan had to move carefully, knowing any misstep could lead to a deadly fall or magical trap in this alien landscape. A towering crystal fortress emerged on the horizon, pulsating with energy that felt both inviting and threatening. Selene, Kael, Alaric, and Rowan exchanged determined glances. Kael led the approach while Selene prepared protective wards. Alaric whispered strategies and Rowan moved ahead scouting traps. The fortress seemed alive, its crystalline surfaces reflecting their figures. Each step toward it made the air hum louder, echoing with unseen power. Selene, Kael, Alaric, and Rowan were resolved. They had to reach the fortress to prevent Malric's resurgence and seal the source of dark energy. As Selene, Kael, Alaric, and Rowan reached the crystal fortress, a spectral figure of Malric appeared, now transformed into a being of pure energy. Selene's magic flared in response, Kael held his sword ready, Alaric's runes glowed intensely, and Rowan positioned strategically to flank. Energy waves distorted the floating islands around them. Selene, Kael, Alaric, and Rowan felt the weight of this final confrontation, the culmination of all battles, plans, and sacrifices. Every move, spell, and strike now held the potential to either save the realms or be consumed by Malric's unleashed power. The final battle erupted at the heart of the crystal fortress. Selene, Kael, Alaric, and Rowan faced Malric, whose energy form shimmered like a storm. Selene unleashed a wave of protective magic. Kael charged with his sword. Alaric chanted powerful incantations, and Rowan darted between shadows, striking at weak points. The fortress quivered under the intensity of their confrontation. Every spell, strike, and move carried the weight of countless lives. Selene, Kael, Alaric, and Rowan knew failure was impossible. They were the last barrier against Malric's dominion over all realms. The clash of magic and steel sent shockwaves through the fortress. Selene's spells intertwined with Kael's sword strikes, while Alaric's runes amplified their power, and Rowan moved like a shadow, disrupting Malric's attacks. Energy sparks flew in all directions as Malric retaliated, forcing Selene, Kael, Alaric, and Rowan to synchronize perfectly. Time seemed to stretch, each heartbeat echoing across the floating islands outside. Every action, every decision was decisive. Selene, Kael, Alaric, and Rowan felt the culmination of all trials converging in this pivotal instant. Selene, Kael, Alaric, and Rowan finally coordinated a final strike. Selene's magic formed a barrier around Malric. Kael lunged with his sword empowered by Alaric's runes, and Rowan struck at a critical energy node. Malric screamed in defiance as his energy fractured, the floating islands trembling under the force. Light and darkness collided, illuminating the fortress in blinding brilliance. Selene, Kael, Alaric, and Rowan felt the culmination of their courage, sacrifice, and unity as Malric's form began to dissipate, the threat to the realms finally weakening under their combined strength. The fortress trembled one last time before silence returned. Selene, Kael, Alaric, and Rowan stood together, exhausted but victorious. The fragments of Malric's energy faded into the air, leaving only calm light and peace in the crystal halls. Selene lowered her hands, Kael rested his sword, Alaric's staff dimmed, and Rowan exhaled, finally relaxing. Outside, the floating island stabilized, and the realm felt whole again. Selene, Kael, Alaric, and Rowan had fulfilled their mission, protecting not only their world but countless others, proving that courage, unity, and wisdom could overcome even the darkest forces. Selene, Kael, Alaric, and Rowan gazed across the floating islands, reflecting on the journey they had shared. The bond between them was strengthened by trials, magic, and sacrifice. They knew new challenges might arise, but for now, peace reigned. Selene smiled, Kael nodded, Alaric chuckled softly, and Rowan let out a quiet laugh. Together, they descended from the crystal fortress, carrying hope and courage to the realms beyond. Selene, Kael, Alaric, and Rowan walked forward, ready to face whatever the future held, their legend etched across worlds as protectors and champions of light over darkness. Selene, Kael, Alaric, and Rowan returned to the restored lands, greeted by cheering villagers and travelers from distant realms. Selene spoke of hope and unity, Kael recounted their battles with a confident smile, Alaric emphasized wisdom and learning, and Rowan joked about narrow escapes. The group walked through bustling streets, their presence inspiring awe and relief. Selene, Kael, Alaric, and Rowan felt the weight of their victories, yet each knew the journey had changed them forever, leaving them wiser, stronger, and inseparable. Selene, Kael, Alaric, and Rowan visited the central temple, where relics of past battles and victories were preserved. Selene reflected on the lessons of courage, Kael inspected the legendary weapons, Alaric studied the mystical inscriptions, and Rowan examined old maps of realms yet unexplored. The temple echoed with the weight of history. Selene, Kael, Alaric, and Rowan realized that their journey was not just about defeating Malric, but also about understanding the balance of power, wisdom, and friendship across the realms. Outside the temple, Selene, Kael, Alaric, and Rowan gazed at the horizon where floating islands sparkled under the evening sun. Selene spoke of new responsibilities to protect the realms, Kael pledged to train the next generation of warriors, Alaric planned to preserve knowledge of magic, and Rowan expressed his desire to explore beyond known lands. Their laughter and conversation carried on the wind. Selene, Kael, Alaric, and Rowan understood that peace was fragile but attainable through unity, vigilance, and courage. As night fell, Selene, Kael, Alaric, and Rowan gathered around a fire on a cliff overlooking the realm. Selene shared visions of potential threats, Kael recounted moments of bravery, Alaric advised patience and reflection, and Rowan entertained with stories of their adventures. Stars reflected on the water below, casting shimmering lights on their faces. Selene, Kael, Alaric, and Rowan felt a profound sense of unity and purpose. The night whispered promises of both peace and future challenges, reminding them that guardianship was eternal. Selene, Kael, Alaric, and Rowan finally stood at the edge of a portal that shimmered with possibilities. Selene spoke of journeys yet to come. Kael readied his sword, Alaric adjusted his robes in anticipation, and Rowan grinned at the unknown. With a final glance at the realm they had protected, Selene, Kael, Alaric, and Rowan stepped forward together, entering a new adventure. Though the future was uncertain, their courage, friendship, and wisdom ensured that light would always prevail. The story of Selene, Kael, Alaric, and Rowan became legend, inspiring generations yet to come. Selene, Kael, Alaric, and Rowan emerged from the portal into an unfamiliar world, shrouded in mist and dotted with colossal crystalline towers. Selene marveled at the vibrant energy that pulsed through the land. Kael scanned the horizon for danger. Alaric studied the runes etched into the crystals, and Rowan explored curiously, laughing at the strange fauna. Together, Selene, Kael, Alaric, and Rowan realized that this realm held secrets and challenges unlike any they had faced before, demanding courage, wisdom, and unity in equal measure. Selene, Kael, Alaric, and Rowan discovered a village of luminous beings who communicated through light. Selene attempted to understand their language, Kael showed respect with careful gestures, Alaric translated ancient symbols, and Rowan mimicked their motions playfully. Despite differences, Selene, Kael, Alaric, and Rowan quickly formed a bond with the luminous beings, learning that this world's harmony depended on cooperation, empathy, and the ability to navigate its strange, radiant magic. A sudden tremor shook the crystalline towers, forcing Selene, Kael, Alaric, and Rowan to react swiftly. Selene cast protective wards, Kael deflected falling debris, Alaric deciphered runes that could stabilize the towers, and Rowan guided frightened luminous beings to safety. Together, Selene, Kael, Alaric, and Rowan coordinated with precision, realizing that the challenges of this realm were immediate and required every skill they had honed over past adventures. Their unity was tested as never before. After stabilizing the towers, Selene, Kael, Alaric, and Rowan discovered a hidden portal within the largest crystal. Selene speculated it led to the heart of this world. Kael prepared for any dangers ahead. Alaric read warning inscriptions, and Rowan's excitement grew with each step. Together, Selene, Kael, Alaric, and Rowan crossed the threshold, stepping into a radiant realm filled with floating orbs of light and ancient knowledge. They knew the trials ahead would shape the destiny of this new world. Inside the portal, Selene, Kael, Alaric, and Rowan found a library of infinite knowledge where floating tomes and glowing scrolls defied gravity. Selene examined ancient prophecies, Kael studied battle manuals, Alaric traced magical formulas, and Rowan curiously inspected maps of uncharted worlds. Together, Selene, Kael, Alaric, and Rowan realized that this realm held endless possibilities for adventure, learning, and discovery, and that their journey was far from over. They shared a silent vow to protect and explore this world, forging bonds that would last across realms.